Exactly.
Awesome. Welcome everyone to the Buffalo Stampede for 2025. This is our race briefing for the 100K Ultra, including the 100K Teams Relay, and welcome to any doing the Ultra Grand Slam as well. So my name's Nigel Preston. I'm the race director for the weekend, and this is Joe Dorph, our course director. Many of you will have met or had an email from Joe in the course of the year. And probably myself as well. So we put out a pre-event survey, and the survey results have come back, and really exciting that 10% of you from this cohort are feeling 10 out of 10, ready to go.
That's good. 10,
That's
10,
a good
10.
thing. That's 100%. But there is about 22% of you that are not feeling in the greatest shape, maybe could have done a little bit more training, but are still pumped to see what you can do here on the trails in Bright. So if you're in that 22%, if you're not feeling 100%, don't worry. There are others on the start line just like you. And that's okay, isn't it, Joe?
It's pretty rare that you show up. It's probably a 1 in 10 chance that you show up to the start line feeling fully ready to go. So
that's good.
Yeah,
so
I'm not surprised.
So we'll just get up the event guide here. Hopefully you've all downloaded it so far. It is on the website. We've sent a few emails out about this, but really important that you download this. It's got all the information. Special props to Joe here, who's done all the hard yards in putting this together. We've got the event schedule up on the screen right now. We'll start with Friday. So at 2 p.m. on Friday, our bib collection opens. We'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later, but first key thing there is that you need to bring your mandatory gear to be checked in. At bib collection, that's open 2 till 8, and a great time at 4 p.m. to check out our athlete panel. We're going to have an athlete panel there for the 100K and the 20K. And then the second most important part of your schedule is that at 6 a.m. on Saturday, that's when your race starts.
It's pretty important.
That's pretty important, isn't it?
Yeah, don't forget the 6 a.m.
That's right.
Race start.
Exactly. So overall, we're really stoked to have 30% growth this year in the event, which is just amazing for an event that's been going over 11 years. In the 100 kilometers, we have 284 of you going to toe the line on Saturday. We have 40 team relays as well. So 4 times 4 is 160 potential people in the relays, and 51 of you are taking on that Ultra Grand Slam. So that is record numbers in terms of the Ultra Grand Slam as well. So overall, the whole event, 2,500 athletes have signed up. But in the 100K itself, that means we will have about 370 runners on course at any one time. So really exciting for Bright, really exciting for Buffalo Stampede. And yeah, the next thing people want to know about is the weather. So Joe, resident weatherman, what's it looking like so far?
Yeah, I've been living in Bright all summer, and I think everywhere on the East Coast has been pretty hot, and it's looking like it's going to stay pretty hot for the end of March. Normally it's probably a bit cooler this time of year, but yeah, it has been humid in the mornings, and it's still forecast to be like pretty humid until about 11 a.m. each day. So don't be caught out there. A lot of you living in the Alpine area, we're probably more used to the dry heat, but there is a bit of humidity around, but that'll drop off in the morning. And yeah, the high will be around that 24, 25 looking like on the weekend. So pretty hot for this, this time of year, but especially some sections of this course, that'll be really hot, especially Dingo Ridge, sections of the plateau. Early on in the big walk, there's some really hot pockets that just hold the heat. So we're expecting it to be a hot year and people to definitely be out there, DNFing due to heat stress. So like we do on hot years. So yeah, we'll talk about some ways to manage that later on.
Any rain forecasts at the moment?
Yeah, there might be some rain, like late rain on the Saturday. That's been forecast for a few days now, so it's probably pretty likely there'll be something. But yeah, that's all good. It's not going to be too.
Doesn't look like it's too
cold.
heavy, does it?
Yeah, and it won't be too cold overnight. So forecast is looking pretty good overnight, like a 15-degree sort of low in Bright, and doesn't really get down much lower than 11 at Buffalo. So that's a pretty good night. So if you're running through the night, you'll be running through some pretty good conditions.
Yep. Excellent. So next steps from here for we're recording this on a Monday evening, so weather can change. So we will email out the final decision on the thermal and the wet pants on the Thursday. So roughly 36 hours before your race start time, once that forecast finds up, because we are in an alpine area, it can change. And so we don't want to make a call now based on the information we've got now, and then put you or our volunteers or anyone at risk out there. So let's have a look at some of the course markings.
Yep.
Joe's got some here, and Joe's been out on course today.
I have, yeah, we've done a little bit today, a little bit yesterday. So the course will be marked mostly with these reflective orange tags. They got a little note on them so people don't steal them.
I'll just get one of those signs.
And they'll be mostly along the trail as confidence markers, so every 100 to 150 meters or so. And then at the intersections, we'll have these red crosses and green arrows, standard amongst all our races. And then I will be using a lot of barricade tape and reflective ribbon out there as well, to make sure that the intersections are pretty obvious where to go. We generally mark this course pretty hard. So if you haven't seen any sign of the course in a while, you're probably off course. Yeah.
Yeah. You've also got these ones as well. If I
Yeah.
can hold those out. So look out for these on course. They're fairly clearly branded in terms of Buffalo Stampede, and they're pretty obvious what you're supposed to do at each of those spots. Particularly, so there are a couple of locations on course where we do have traffic management, particularly Buckland Valley is one spot that we have, and in Bright Township. But for your 100-kilometre, most of the locations are, what's the word? Free, they've got speed restrictions. So cars are reduced to 40 kilometres an hour. But we do ask that you stop for cars. I think that's now in the next bit, isn't it? Oh, we're into the next bit already. Yeah, so do stop for cars if you're out on course as well. So they will be reduced to 40 kilometres an hour, but do make sure you slow down for that. Also, the course is a really popular area for hikers, hiking groups, on course throughout the weekend. So please do take care with those, do your standard trail walker or trail running sort of notification, like passing or coming through, those sort of things. We do want people to enjoy that course as well. And also be really wary, particularly on Mount Buffalo, about cyclists. They can fly down the hill really quickly, and you will probably not hear them. You'll need to look out for those as they go. There are a couple of key points on the course in particular when you're crossing the Big Walk, that's really important to check out for when you're on Big Walk and you're crossing Mount Buffalo Road. So be really careful in those locations, please. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll just now move on to the aid stations. So I'll just try and get back to the guide.
Yeah.
And that'll help us talk you through those.
Navigate the next bit. Yeah.
Just on the 100K, read through the course description. It's pretty long, but like a great way to get your head around the course and what you're in for. We'll come back to the maps as well in just a second. But yeah, aid station supplies. You'll find them. Sorry, should have gotten to them earlier. In the event guide, that's probably the easiest way to see it all, like in a compact way. But yeah, you can see there everything that we'll have at the aid stations, noting down the bottom sunscreen. People always ask, is there going to be sunscreen? So we always have sunscreen at all of our aid stations. But yeah, we'll have pure electrolyte and pure fluid energy gels all the way along the course. So yeah, you could grab 3 gels at each aid station and do this race pretty cheap compared to other races, really. So that's a pretty cool bonus for you out on course. We've got ice if it's going to be hot, which it looks like it will. So there will be, if you want to wear an ice bandana during the heat of the day, we'll have ice provision for that, for runners to fill up their ice bandanas or put it in their hands or around their neck, like, in their shirt or whatever. Just try and stay cool. Yeah, and then a lot of the standard stuff that you'd expect, I guess. We do have hot chaffles, so cheese toasties.
Yeah. I'm excited
Um,
about the hot chaffles. They do come in later in the race, so
from your oven,
you will have to
Earn
wait.
a-
And your keep if you like. So yeah, you robin onwards. So not at Clear Spot or Buckland outbound. So yeah, and there's a couple of different varieties there for you. Also the hot cup of soup and noodles at the locations as well. So, and the boiled potatoes.
Boiled potatoes are always popular. So yeah, we got a lot out there. So if you haven't got a crew, there's plenty of aid stations, and if you do have a nutrition plan and it's fallen to pieces, then you've got a really good backup plan there.
Yeah. Another FAQ we always get is, are there toilets at all the aid stations? So yes, there are at all of the aid stations. And just in terms of the trail conduct, we also ask that, can you please use the toilets at the aid stations rather than anywhere else? If you could, that's really important from a Parks Victoria and just respecting the land's point of view. So yes, they are at those locations as well. And particularly in terms of crew, we do ask that crew just assist you at the aid stations rather than anywhere randomly on course, please. That's what the aid stations are for. It really helps in terms of traffic, in terms of safety for you and your crew, as along with everyone else. There is probably an exception to that in Buckland Valley. There's a long section of paved road through the Buckland Valley near the Buckland Valley aid station on Harris Lane and Eggleston Lane, if you're looking them up on Google. So we are permitting people to do crew changeovers or crew support in that area along there. So let's have a look at some of these cutoffs here. Checkpoints. Yeah,
cutoffs have changed a bit from last year, obviously with the slightly different course. So essentially, we still like to keep them pretty generous early on, and then so you should have a bit of a buffer early on, and then once you get sort of like up to the chalet, it's like you want to be making sure you're in front of those cutoffs. Well in front of them, so that they don't catch you later on. But basically, if you get into an aid station right on cutoff and then you sit around for 10 minutes, you're not going to be allowed to leave if it's past cutoff. So you really want to be getting to each of these spots if you're expecting to be on cutoff, like probably 20 minutes, at least half an hour, 20 minutes before the actual cutoff, and then give yourself plenty of time to get ready to go. So you'll see the cutoffs here in the event guide. They're on the website. There are a lot of different places. But yeah, it's a 28-hour cutoff, and I feel like it's pretty generous. So don't rush. Don't feel like you're on a mission. Like if you think you're going to pull out, maybe sit down and think, how far ahead am I ahead of cutoff, and can I actually do this thing? And you might change your mind. So. You got a fair while till 10 a.m. on Sunday morning to get this done, and we want to see as many people as we can finish. So
definitely,
yeah.
If you're doing the Ultra Grand Slam, so you're doing the 3 events over the 3 days, there is a bit of a secret cutoff, isn't there, Joe?
Yeah, there is a secret cutoff. So it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to finish the Ultra Slam if you're over 23 hours in the what am I saying, 100K? Because you got to get on that shuttle at 5:20 to get back up to the marathon start. So keep that in mind. If you do finish after 23 hours and you can't do the marathon, that's fine. You'll still get a 100K finish and a 10K finish. You just won't be able to run the marathon. So just keep that in mind. Also, really important to note that 23 hours all aligns nicely with the Western States qualifier. So Western States have allowed us to be a qualifier for entering their race, which is awesome. And they also choose their own cutoff that they want for each of their races. So they've decided that you have to run this course in under 23 hours to be able to apply to states. And so if you are trying to get that qualifier, then that's your number to try and beat. And you'll see in the guide, like these are sort of like my recommended splits between each aid station if you want to sort of hit that 23-hour mark. And if you think you're going to be around that 16-hour mark, you could probably follow similar sort of splits to that in the guide you'll see there, which can be really useful for your crew as well. And we can probably mention now like the live tracking as
yeah.
well. It sort of works. So we will put in the description the link to the live tracking, and that'll be on the website. So your crew will be able to see when you pass through each checkpoint live throughout the day. We've added extra checkpoints this year, so there's a lot of like regular updates. And then say you said to them you want to run these splits in the 16-hour mark. If they're like, oh, you know, he's just come through the chalet, he should be at Eurobin in 1 hour and 27. Or if they know that you're tracking faster, then they'll get there a bit earlier. Or you know, it's pretty useful if you combine that timing out with this table. Your crew should be on a pretty good formula, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Side note, Joe Dorph here actually did run Western States last year. It was good, wasn't it, Joe?
Oh yeah, it's good. I put your name in.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get picked, but you keep putting your name in, eventually you might get picked. So
so
may as well. I reckon everyone who gets under that 23-hour mark may as well. You got nothing to lose.
Put your name in the lottery. 364 entries, something like that per year that it's capped, and absolutely amazing. So once you finish this and once you finish this race and you're Googling your next challenge, definitely put your name in for that one. So a couple of quick things to mention here, just in terms of this table, because it makes it nice and clear. Drop bags, we'll cover that next before we get onto mandatory gear. So drop bags, you can bring them with you, or please bring them with you to bib collection. Our team can take them at that point. We have some tags that you can label with your bib number and your surname and where you want them to go to, be it Eurobin or Cresta Valley. So there's 2 locations, but you go through each of those locations effectively twice, each spot. So please make sure that's clear. We really love the Woolworth zipped up style insulated bags, and clearly label them as much as you can, so that our volunteers at the aid stations can try to line them up in bib number order. That's what they'll be trying to do. So the more clearly that you can label those bags, the more clearly that the volunteers can lay them out, and the more clearly that you or your crew will be able to find them. All of our aid station teams are volunteers, so please be, I know you're focused on your racing, but please be really courteous to them when they're there. They're trying to do the best they can for you and to make sure your day is as enjoyable as possible. So yeah, if you get to that station and you're looking for your drop bag, please just say, hey, I'm looking for my drop bag. This is my number, or this is my name, and help them find it, obviously through that. Let's have a look at some of the mandatory gear. And we'll talk through some of those aspects. So in terms of, and then we might jump onto the AVENZA and Maps. So surprisingly, surprising to me, but one of the emails we get quite a lot is it mandatory to carry the mandatory gear? And yes, it is. You do need to carry the gear for all of the run, through all the stations all the time. And mandatory gear is largely there not for when things are going well, but for when things go wrong. So if you roll your ankle on the big walk or some location and it takes our first aid crew 2, 3, 4 hours perhaps to get you out of there, that's where you'll need some of this gear. You may need your torch, you may need your raincoat, you may need your thermals at that time to carry you through until we can actually extract you safely. So please think of it that way, rather than, oh, this is extra gear I have to carry that's going to slow me down, basically. Joe was doing some course marking today, mentioned he did see a snake out on course. So snake bandage, really important there. Please make sure it still has its indicators on there. It hasn't been cut down to size, those sorts of things. That's really important. Waterproof jacket with a hood, smartphone, 2 liters worth of liquid capacity. We'll jump onto the map in a second. I'll get Jim to talk through that. Thermal long sleeve top, warm headwear, so a buff or a beanie, something like that. Warm full fingered gloves, emergency blanket, a sun hat or a visor, something like that. 2 working torches.
That can be a head torch. Some people are always like, can I take a head torch?
Can I take a head torch? Yep, or a handheld torch, something like that, and a spare battery for those.
For one of them.
For one of those. And we mentioned before about the weather dependent gear, so we'll be making a call on that on the Thursday. And there's just a couple of the recommended items down there as well. So a second warm layer may be required, perhaps not so much this year, but we'll make that your decision. Some people run hot, some people run cold, so make that choice for yourself. Collapsible cup can always be good, can just help you get through the aid stations even more quickly.
Because we don't have cups at aid
There's
stations.
no cups at aid stations.
So you can drink out of your flask and all that. If
Yep.
you want to have a Coke, you can drink it out of your flask. But
That's
if
right.
you've got a collapsible cup, it's sometimes a bit easier.
Yes, absolutely. And then the last item there, ice bandanas or neck coolers, really popular now, particularly as people in the sport are getting more aware and thinking through cooling. It's a really important facet of that. And they are available for sale at the event if you want to give them a try for the first time as well. And you can see there, I won't go through the list, but you can see there the items in the second column for the team relay as well. Very much similar, except that people in the relay that don't need to carry a spare battery for their torch.
And only like the what is it? The first two legs don't need to worry about the torch.
Yeah, we're pretty confident those won't. Well, based on the cutoffs, they shouldn't be running in the dark. So at that point in time, also on mandatory gear, in terms of the team's relay, you can share that gear between different athletes. So I did speak to a team captain a while ago, and he basically wanted to work out, did he need to buy 4 sets of mandatory gear for everyone? No, we just need to make sure that the runner on course at the time has the mandatory gear with them. So that is all of the items there. I will just mention about the cup sort of thing, and in terms of the noodles, we do serve the noodles in double-walled cups.
Yeah.
So, don't think you have to put them in your flasks or anything like that. We do serve them to you in cups on the course. So, but in that is an exception. Everything else, there's no cups out there. Do you want to go through AVENZA and some of the apps?
I'll quickly mention we're going to do a random gear check on course for one item of gear. So you won't know what that is and you don't know where that is. We will just at some stage on the course ask, hey, can you please show us this? And if you don't have it, you'll just be penalized 30 minutes. So we're keeping that really simple. We're not going to make you stay there until you have that piece of gear, because some of you won't have crew, and that'll essentially mean you can't go on. So you'll be penalized 30 minutes, and then we'll also do random checks at the finish line, which will also cost you another 30 minutes. So yeah, just have your gear. That's the message, really. Like no way around it. If you get stuck out there, you'll need it, and it can actually save lives. So it's very important.
Yeah.
The AVENZA and Maps, we had a few questions about them. So just go back up here to the 100K course. We've made these maps for the 100K, so you can basically scan this barcode on the event guide is probably the easiest way to go about it. And that'll open up AVENZA and Maps. And I'll just show you on my phone, actually. I will actually just show you on my phone because it makes it a bit easier to describe. So you can see I'm in bright, right? So you can see when I'm on the map, you can actually see where you are on the map. So that's where I live, if you want to come say hi. But yeah, when you're on course, you'll actually be showing up as a little blue dot on course, and the direction you're facing will also be showing up. So if you feel like you're off course, you can open up AVENZA Maps and you'll see, oh, actually, no, I'm a little bit off course here and I'm facing that direction. So I'll just turn around and get back onto course. So it's super useful, and there's some little course notes along the way, like to describe, where you got to go and what part of the course you're at, like Mystic or Emily Spur, or I think it's just a useful thing, especially if you're planning your race. Have it open, and even down the bottom here, it's got the little elevation profile, so you can see between, say, your Robin Creek is 74K into the race, and that's the amount of climbing you'll have done, and so you can plan your race out really nicely on it. But yeah, definitely open the app, I'd recommend just scanning the QR code on the event guide and following through the steps. And it's free. You don't have to pay for it or anything. Just download the free map, and yeah, it works really well. So
perfect. Thanks, Joe. Another one for our interstate visitors, because I know we have a lot of, we actually have a lot of people coming from interstate who may not have this, but there is an app called Vic Emergency. So this is a really helpful app for giving you alerts about emergencies in the area. So think bushfires, thunderstorms, those sort of things. It will give you real-time alerts on your phone to help you know what's happening.
And that, like, we will find out a lot of stuff through that. So
yeah,
you'll find out well before you find out from us if there's a bushfire on course, or if there's even it can be anything, like a crazy person's out on course, or something like that. It'll alert you to that. The other really useful app is obviously the Emergency Plus app, because it'll show you your longitude, latitude, and you can just click 000 there. You can click police. If you're in really, really bad danger, you're calling 000 is probably the first step, and then calling medical after that. If you're in, a really bad threatening situation, you want to get your latitude and longitude to the emergency services as soon as possible.
So, Joe, you've done a lot of long races. What do you recommend for people about how to conserve phone battery? Because it's a long time. People might be out there for a long time. What do you recommend?
Yeah, just turning off basically everything except for you can leave Bluetooth on if you're using your headphones, but I would turn Bluetooth off. I'd turn Wi-Fi off. Turn everything except mobile data off, because the one thing we want to be able to do is message you still while you're out on course. So sometimes mobile data will be the best way for us to get messages through. And with AVENZA and Maps, that's just saved on your phone. I should have mentioned that before, but that's my Instagram. That's just saved on your phone. So like once you've saved that on your phone, you can use this in airplane mode. You can even see where you are. Actually, I don't think you can in airplane mode, but like if you've got location services turned on and everything else is turned off, then you can see where you are and you can see the full detail of the map and everything. So yeah, we want to be able to contact you though, so you can't have it in airplane mode. Otherwise, we won't be able to send you text messages or call you if we think you're in danger or off course or something.
Yeah. So if you are worried about your phone, if you don't think your phone will quite last as long as you'll be out on course, please consider a power bank. Taking that with you with a cable so you can recharge. We don't have facility at this race for you to be able to recharge at our aid stations. We do at some of our other races like GPT, but not at this event. So please think about that. Maybe it's something that a crew could give you a power bank for the second half of the race, or maybe you give it to a pacer or something like that to help you get through the race, and probably introduces the topic of pacers as well while we're at it. So pacers do not need to do a gear check, and you can pick up the bib for your pacer as you're coming to register. We do ask though that all the pacers register themselves through Race Roster, so they can go on via the system and register through Race Roster. Just click register now and then go through the process to register as a pacer. We'll give you a pacer bib for that person, and away we go. Really great way to make sure you've got some company out course, you've got some security, you've got that extra person, particularly in the dark, I would say.
It helps with safety and company, and a lot of people don't like running at night, so that can help with that as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now we will talk next about team relays, and then we'll talk about crew a little bit more. I've covered that a bit, and then get on to some of the medical parts. So with the team relays, relay teams will have a different color bib to the rest of the 100Kers and the Grand Slammers. So there'll be 3 different bib colors out there on course. So you'll be able to know and follow what's happening. So they'll have 4 different bibs per team. So if you're team number 1, For instance, your bib will be number 1, and then the first leg will be -1. The second leg will be -2. Third leg will be -3. Fourth leg will be -4. So we really want, for the sake of matching up your runners with the right splits times, to give those leg numbers to the right participants within your team. Make sure the bibs get to the right person within that team. So there'll be a front bib. There'll also be a smaller bib number that's attached. You can attach to your backpack, and this will allow the people in the 100K and the other competitors know who team relay runners are versus the 100K runners as well. So please just attach those. You'll have some cable ties to attach the pack bibs, and safety pins will be given to you for the front pins as well. When you're at the changeover points, you'll see that there's some timing gates, and these are sort of stand-up antennas that are near the track. Can we really just ask that the athletes who are doing the changeovers, who are not on course yet, please keep a safe distance, 10 meters away from those timing gates, please. This will just help us manage the race and manage your split times a lot more easily. So please just be really wary of the timing gates as you go. We did have a question via the email about whether you have to carry a baton. You don't have to carry a baton. That would be awkward. You can just give each other a high five in the aid station areas to change over at those points. And as we mentioned earlier as well, you can relay the mandatory gear. So if you want the first runner to then pass it to the second runner or the third runner, you can do that. We just want to make sure that people on course have the mandatory gear with them, basically. Joe, do you want to talk about crew?
Yeah, we talked about crew a bit earlier with which aid stations you can go to and how to track your runner and estimated splits, but also just making sure that your crew is ready for the day. Like, it's probably going to be 15-hour day for them, maybe 20, maybe 25. So they have to have plenty of food for themselves, plenty of water. They probably need to have a driving schedule, a sleeping schedule, if they're going to be out there a really long time. And you don't want them driving around if they're tired, especially on these roads.
Yeah.
And there will be wildlife on the roads, probably more so if it's dark. So if they're out there at 1 a.m. driving around, they're going to definitely see some kangaroos. And some deer probably. So yeah, you want them to just let them know to be careful. I know it sounds obvious, but like, before you go race 100K yourself, you want to make sure the people looking after you are looking after themselves. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, about 3 years ago, I almost ran into a wombat out in Buckland Valley. So they're definitely around. So be wary of that. Also, we're encouraging crew to decide between Clear Spot and Buckland Valley. In terms of travel time, we realistically recommend that you would be better served going to Buckland Valley. It's an easier drive. You're more likely to get there in time before your athlete does, and it's further into the race for them to be able to, I guess, appreciate your company and your support on course. So from a crew point of view, we would be strongly encouraging to skip Clear Spot and head to Buckland Valley.
Later in the race, you can definitely get up to Clear Spot. Your runner will be traveling slow, and you can probably get up there from Buckland easily enough. But
that's right.
Clear Spot, I'd be skipping it if I was crew. I'd be just saying goodbye to your runner at the start, and then having an easy day, and then heading to Buckland. Having a coffee or whatever.
Perfect. Yeah, that's good. So when you get your race bib, and this is all athletes in all events, on the front is your race number, and if for the teams, that will have the different leg members as well. On the back of the bibs, it will have 3 contact numbers. Actually, it has 4. It has our medical director number, so in case of medical emergency, you can ring that. It has my number. It has Joe's number. It also has our event manager, Colin Taylor's number as well. So please call through those. One of the 3 of us will pick up and respond, but they're on the back of every bib. And there's also a QR code to go to the website for the course maps as well. So if you need to, You know, if you have some problem with AVENZA or something like that, and you need to go and find that really quickly again, there's a QR code for you to scan. It'll take you to the website. You can go back through the process again. So that's what to do. And if you do get any medical trouble, Joe, do you want to talk through some of the medical points?
Yeah, we'll talk through some of the main ones. So snakes, yeah, obviously they're still around at the moment. We don't normally see too many at this time of year around Bright, but I saw one today. So yeah, main thing is always just to give them their space. They'll always get out of the way. Australian snakes are not very aggressive compared to if you're an international person, maybe you know more about rattlesnakes or something. Like Australian snakes generally just want to get out of your way. They don't want to have anything to do with you. So we'll give them their space. Keep an eye out for them. But yeah, if you did manage to get bitten, hopefully for one, it's probably a dry bite. But the most important thing is that you don't move. So yeah, the Australian snake fangs aren't long enough to get into the blood, so they all go through the lymphatic system, the venom. So if you don't move, theoretically, the venom can't actually circulate around your body. So that's the number one thing is like, if you get bitten by a snake, just don't move and call for help. If you did nothing else, that'd be a good procedure. We obviously prefer, and it's best for you if you can put a bandage around the wound and to the extremity of the limb. And if you've got enough bandage, back up again. And that's why if everybody's got one, you're probably going to have 4 or 5 people who can come along and put more bandages on and help you out. And that's why it's great for everybody to have a bandage. So yeah, get help and get people to help you as well as they pass you. And then if you're not moving, you're probably going to be fine. And reassure yourself, like try not to stress out too much. Try and stay calm if you can. But yeah, it's pretty rare for trail running. Try not to freak out about it. We want you to enjoy your race. Just give them space, and if they're on the trail in front of you, they'll eventually go away. Medications. I guess the main thing we just wanted to mention is we don't endorse people taking NSAIDs out on course, so non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. It's pretty common in the ultra scene now to not let people do that. Our medical team won't give you any ibuprofen or Nurofen or Advil. Yeah, those sort of drugs that can affect the kidneys and can bring on rhabdo, and those are much more serious problems than something that you're taking ibuprofen for. So yeah, paracetamol, that's okay. If you do take it though, make sure you're just noting down the time that you've taken it, so that can help our medical team in administering that. GI distress is the main thing medically that people pull out of a race for. It's the most common thing in ultras to have problems with. Generally, it's probably one of 3 things. You probably haven't got enough water or too much water, or you haven't got enough sugar or too much sugar, or you haven't got enough salt or too much salt. So water, sugar, salt are generally the 3 problems, or not problems, but more like things you want to get right.
If you like.
Yeah. And too much or not enough of either one of them can be a problem. So there's no magic formula, unfortunately, but generally people say, try and drink plenty of water, but not too much. So drinking to thirst. You want to have electrolytes with that water. So if you're just drinking constantly plain water all day and you're not actually having any salt, you're going to get into some pretty bad problems with hyponatremia. And that can lead to rhabdo as well. And I'll talk about rhabdo a bit later. But yeah, so you want to have salt in your water. It's probably more dangerous to not have any salt than to have too much salt. So make sure you're having salty potatoes or chips or something, or the electrolyte drink. You're not just constantly having water all day. And then sugar. So if you're feeling really sad and you want to quit and you're having a pity party, which will definitely happen, it's very often you haven't had enough calories. So try and eat some food, basically. Sugar means just food, like just try and eat some food at the aid station or have a gel or Give yourself the time to replenish before you make any decisions, I would say. Yeah, so we mentioned rhabdo. It's probably the most dangerous thing about trail running, I would say. Not very common, but it's common enough, and it's very, very bad. You don't want to get it. Like if you notice your pee going like a dark Coke color, that can be a sign. It comes from like a combination of maybe undertraining, not being quite prepared, overexertion, and then combining that with maybe a lack of electrolytes and an overconsumption of just plain water, for example. And NSAIDs can help as well. So like if you're taking ibuprofen, that can also help in getting it. So there's no like one right way to get it, but just try not to do like, just try not to push yourself crazy hard, because that's probably the main reason. If you're overexerting yourself and you're only drinking water and no electrolyte, that's a good recipe for a disaster. So yeah, you can end up in hospital, and it does happen at our events, and it happens at a lot of trail running events. So be mindful of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about
dehydration, perhaps?
Maybe.
So we've kind of talked about some of those, haven't we? Hypothermia. Look, it will be as we expected. It's probably unlikely that we will get hypothermia on the weekend.
Do you mean hypothermia or hypothermia?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at those.
Confused.
Yeah, no.
Hypothermia is if you're overheating.
Yes.
Hyperthermia is if you're overheating. So this weekend, like, it could happen if you're at the wrong part of the course at the wrong time of day and you're not looking after yourself. Like, you could have heat stress. So I would probably be wearing an ice bandana most of the day. It's pretty easy to do. Like, if you can even make them pretty simply just with a normal bandana, and you just fill it up with ice and wear it around your neck. Like, it'll keep you cool. So why not do it? And then if you're like, again, if you're overexerting yourself, if you're just like full, David Goggins, like I can do this, pushing really hard, that can lead to hypothermia as well. So yeah, be mindful of that. And hypothermia is when you're cold. This can happen even if it's not that cold overnight. So if you've gone from being really hot all day, all of a sudden it's 15 degrees and you've got wet clothing on, that can be quite dangerous. So I'd recommend changing clothes once the night falls. If you have crew, or in your drop bags, having a change of clothes would be the easiest way to get around risking hypothermia at night. Yeah.
Certainly we will have, in terms of hyperthermia, we'll have plenty of water, plenty of ice on course. In terms of the volume of water, we're talking a lot. 13,000 litres of water that we have on course for you and all the other participants. So if, just feel free to use that and make sure that you are looking after yourselves as best as possible. And I think change of clothes is actually a fantastic idea in terms of planning ahead for that, if you are planning to be going into the night, because if you've got clothes that you've been wearing for a long time and they're sweaty and sticky, they'll start to get cold quite quickly. So yeah, really important safety points to round off on. Finally, we just want to welcome you to Bright and the High Country. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing place to be. We're really excited that so many of you have decided to come to Bright in the area. This is Joe's hometown, and yeah, we want you to visit the community, spend your dollars in the brewery or the cafes, those sort of places as well. Towns like this really thrive on events like this and tourism. So Stampede is home here in Bright, and we're really looking forward to welcoming you. Is there anything you reckon we missed, Joe, in wrapping up?
I'm trying to remember everything now, but I think we got everything. Yeah. No, it's all good. I'm very excited. If you're on Instagram, make sure you're tagging Buffalo Stampede, and we'll probably share you. Hashtag Buffalo Stampede 2025.
Sounds good.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Very exciting.
Excellent.
5 days apps now, so
it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Good luck. See you on the start line.